Next on Sisterhood of the Second Act.
Is it time to start downsizing? If you are caring for aging parents, this can be a difficult conversation to have. It may also be a conversation you need to have with your spouse. We'll talk downsizing and aging in place with senior real estate moving specialist Monica Nicely. Have you had your picture taken lately? Research tells us women are less likely to strike a pose after a certain age. Portrait photographer Sunny Wasiela helps us get over that fear and offers tips on how to look our best. We'll meet both of these women on this edition of Sisterhood of the Second Act, right after this.
Sisterhood of the Second Act is brought to you by
I'm gonna be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids said they'd be looking for a thorny tree for me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
Step out the door with confidence, ready to conquer the day. Whether you are going to the cafe down the street or headed into work, you know you will always look your best in Cabby Styles. Your stylist, Darlene Marshall, will help you pick the styles that make you sparkle. And Cabby has styles for all body types. Call Darlene at 540-330-6819, 540-330-6819, and follow her on Instagram at Dapper Darlin. Buy local this holiday season and get unique gifts on time. Start your holiday shopping at the New Moon Network store for original artwork by the Virginia artists featured on the Sisterhood of the Second Act set. You will also find Sisterhood merchandise there. Stop by the Earthworks Artworks Gallery at 228 South Pollard Street in Vinton, Virginia, or shop online at newmoonnetwork.com and have it delivered to you. Your purchase supports Virginia artists and local programming by the New Moon Network.
See where a grateful nation remembers its heroes, and where Thomas Jefferson came to relax. Where small town charm is just down the road from big outdoor adventures. Find peace and quiet, as well as the sounds of family fun. Destination Bedford is located where the Piedmont Plateau meets the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Where ordinary ends, Bedford begins.
Now from the Fox Radio Roanoke studio, here's Kathy Heberle.
Welcome to Sisterhood of the Second Act. I'm Kathy Heberle. Realtor Monica Nicely is a relocation and senior real estate specialist. She works with a wide range of buyers, such as first-time home buyers, retirees looking to downsize, and investors looking for rentals or flips. She joins us now to talk downsizing and aging in place. Thank you for being here, Monica.
Thank you.
Monica, I think most people know that a realtor helps you buy and sell homes, but you are also a relocation specialist. What is that?
So as a relocation specialist, I often help people move to the area or from Roanoke to another area.
And in the context of downsizing, does that mean a change from one size home to another?
Yes.
And working with seniors, what's the usual way it works?
There's
From a
no
larger
usual.
home? There isn't. Okay. But if they're trying to downsize, does that generally mean they're looking either for a less expensive or a smaller home, or not necessarily?
Usually a smaller home or a smaller property in terms of yard and maintenance.
That makes sense, sure. And you, because you're a senior moving specialist, how is moving seniors different than moving, say, a couple in their 30s, for example?
Their goals are often different.
Okay.
Sometimes they're financially motivated, but often it's just the motivation is the amount of space. Too big, you have to clean it, or the proximity to town, proximity to family.
Right. I was even thinking sometimes if you have health issues, you might want, less to take care of. Is that something? I know with my mother, that was an issue she had. It was hard for her to keep up with a bigger home.
Yes, and stairs.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, so maybe if they had a 2-story home, they might look for a ranch or 1-story home. Okay. So what unique training do you have to help you become a senior moving specialist?
So the National Association of Realtors has a program that involves some courses. Of course, that does not replace real life because no situation is the same. So, part of it is just diving in and getting to know seniors in the area that need help.
So also many of us have senior parents. Do you have advice how we can start the conversation with them about downsizing?
The first thing is to purge.
Okay.
Let them know you can't take it with you, and it's hard to take everything to a smaller space. The other thing is you need to know the why. Are they moving because of space? Are they moving because they want to be in another location? Health reasons, and where are they going? Are they going to another single family home? Are they going to move in with a family member or maybe assisted living?
That makes sense. We're talking with Realtor Monica Nicely about downsizing and aging in place. And what advice do you give people who need to let go of things with sentimental value?
Oh, that's tough. Well, you have to have, pick and choose. Some stuff you can keep, some stuff you can give away. A lot of people with attachment issues want somebody that will appreciate those items. So maybe figuring out a way to sell them or donate them to somebody that needs them.
That sounds like really good advice. I was also thinking if they know perhaps it was helpful for us if we knew what size that we're moving into. You can only take what would fit in there, and helping them see that.
Right.
Helps them determine how that should go. And then what advice do you give people who need to find homes where they can age in place? Like, what should they look for?
Steps, wider hallways in case you need to get a walker or a wheelchair through. Sure. And sometimes that means also wider doorways. Open spaces are easier to navigate. And I guess this goes along with downsizing and purging. Less is more, because you don't want to have to navigate through tons of furniture.
That makes a lot of sense. What about floor coverings? I imagine no throw rugs and things those I know can be tripping hazards, and just to help them with their decorating, don't bring all that stuff.
Right. And some of those things, the pads have the sticky on them. The other thing is some flooring can be slick. Even hardwood floors, if you don't have on the right shoes.
That's a very good point.
Right.
So that's all good to remember. When you're going to look for a place, keep all those things in mind.
And the size of the yard and the upkeep of the yard. Is that included? Do you have an HOA? Or are you going to have to take care of it yourself or hire it yourself?
Oh, that's a very good point. Yes. What qualities do homes have that make them a good candidate for aging in place?
Open spaces, wide hallways, walk-in showers.
Oh, sure.
A kitchen that is big enough to accommodate a wheelchair or a walker. And there are actually contractors that can help. So if you buy a house now that has potential, it doesn't have to be perfect for staying in place. There are services that can help you kind of modify.
That's good to know. Thank you very much. If someone is downsizing to a smaller home, do you recommend they use a home equity line of credit from their current home to purchase the smaller home?
That is a tricky question.
Okay.
Sometimes, they may have enough cash. There are different programs through lenders. A home equity line is only going to help you if you purchase before you sell. And so depending on the market, that could be tricky.
Okay. So do you recommend then that if an adult child has parents in that situation, would it be helpful for the children to accompany the parents to look at properties and homes? Is that something that I'm sure it can be tricky either way, but if they're willing, is that something good that you help them, advise them to do?
So I think the first question is, why are you moving, and who is a decision maker? Some seniors may feel like they're losing their freedom.
Sure.
And so I think you have to leave it up to the family, but I think you have to tread lightly.
Mm-hmm. Well, I was thinking more, for example, if say an elderly couple and their adult children live nearby, they might be wanting them to move closer to them and maybe would know the neighborhood and the things to help them, feel secure in moving somewhere they're not familiar with.
Right, right.
Do you find that they often want to move by family when they're downsizing?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Everybody wants to be, well, especially if there are grandkids or great-grandkids involved.
Sure.
They want family. They want people to pay attention to them. And they, want a social outlet, and a lot of times family can provide that.
And then I think lastly, how does the financial side of things work if they find that they're now retired and don't have the income? So you can help them find something in their budget that would be more suitable for them?
Yes. And lenders can help, and even if they're retired, they're still having some kind of income. So some seniors do take on a mortgage, and right now with the interest rates being so low, they can get by with low monthly payments because a lot of them have a lot of equity going into it.
So that's another thing to keep in mind. Yeah, sometimes they might want to just downsize just to get their equity out and find something more affordable.
Right. And some people want to invest their money rather than to put it into the housing market because interest rates are so low.
That's true.
So I think it takes a team of people to help them navigate the process.
But it's certainly, right?
Right. A lender, your financial advisor, your accountant.
Something to consider, like if it's an option for you. And what other tips do you have for seniors or children of parents downsizing?
Be patient.
Yes.
And listen.
Yes.
Because sometimes as children, we think we know what's best, just like our parents knew what was best for us. And we're really not the ones. It's not all about us, it's about our parents. So I think we need to be patient and listen and know that there are a lot of emotions involved in downsizing and maybe leaving a home that you've been in for many, many years.
That's excellent advice. Be patient. I like that. So thank you so much for being with us today, Monica. It's been a real pleasure having you, and I hope we've given some people some ideas of to make a situation that might be a little bit intimidating, a little bit easier.
Thank you, Kathy.
It's my pleasure. We'll have Monica's contact information in our show notes on our website, sisterhoodofthesecond-act.com. There's more Sisterhood of the Second Act ahead. It is time to strike a pose. Advice on how to look your best whenever a camera is pointed your way.
Step out the door with confidence, ready to conquer the day. Whether you are going to the cafe down the street or headed into work, you know you will always look your best in Cabby Styles. Your stylist, Darlene Marshall, will help you pick the styles that make you sparkle. And Cabby has styles for all body types. Call Darlene at 540-330-6819, 540-330-6819, and follow her on Instagram at Dapper Darlin.
I'm gonna be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids say they be looking for a thorny tree for me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
Where there is nothing, artists see something. Where there is silence, they hear a melody. Where there is beauty, they create even greater beauty. In a region known for its beautiful mountain surroundings, our vibrant arts community makes the Allegheny Highlands a more colorful place to live and visit. Our passion for the arts is endless, and it's uniquely Allegheny.
There's more Sisterhood of the Second Act coming up after this. Meet Susan Mclaren.
I started painting out of necessity. I had my job was as an RN in the healthcare field, and I was in management, and I became ill. I had a sudden hearing loss and had some other things that were going on at the same time, so I wasn't able to do my job. And I also my hobby was music, so I couldn't perform my musical hobbies as well, so I ended up looking for something to keep me occupied, and just by mistake ran into someone that was teaching watercolors, and I had not painted since high school. So I started talking to him about taking classes, and I had never painted in watercolors because I always thought they were too hard. So I started taking classes from him and just fell in love with doing watercolors. And that has just grown. That's been about 13 years now. And I started doing watercolors as well as some pen and inks, and it just sort of broadened out from there. I was doing acrylics and playing with different mediums, and found out that I had an affinity for it, and it was a creative outlet since I couldn't do my music anymore, so that's how I started.
Susan is one of the artists whose art serves as a backdrop for Sisterhood of the Second Act.
It used to be I couldn't even go to a music program and not cry because I couldn't, participate, but it has definitely provided an outlet for the creativity, as well as just giving you a purpose, to be able to be out there. So I've just been blessed that I can do the art, and I'm enjoying it. Part of the process for me is learning something new. I always like to learn something new, and that's part of what I like the most about the creative process, because there's so many things that you could just pick and choose from to learn a new process or a new technique, or even experimenting with different papers. There's just so many options that it always keeps me stimulated, because I'm not one of these that can just sit down and do one thing, and paint it over and over again. I have to be playing with stuff constantly to see what's out there. Oh, the most important thing for me is that things that people love. That I want them to look at it and either evoke some kind of emotional response in them, either a feeling of warm, fuzzy, or funny. I tend to do things that are sort of whimsical and fun, because that's what makes me happy. So I think it should make other people happy. But I think that's the biggest thing, is to have an emotional connection to pieces that you buy, and yet that you have to fall in love with it. And that's what buying art is about, is to have things that you can surround yourself with that you just love, and it makes you feel good.
You can buy Susan's art by going to newmoonnetwork.com/shop. Once again, from the Fox Radio Roanoke studio, here's Kathy Heberle.
Welcome back to Sisterhood of the Second Act. I'm Kathy Heberle. When someone turns a camera in your direction, do you run for the hills? As women age, they are more likely to avoid the lens. Professional photographer Sunny Wasiela is here to help us face the camera with confidence and look our best. Thank you for joining us, Sunny.
Absolutely.
Sunny, how did you get into photography?
Well, if you ask my mom, I've always had a camera in my hand, apparently. I liked it as a kid, and when I had my senior portraits taken, I asked him about it, and he said, it's a great career, maybe you should look into it. And I started in a studio, got certified from there, and the rest is history.
That's wonderful. So what kind of training and experience do you have?
I have portrait certifications and training with newborns, children, and families. I apprenticed with a wedding photographer and learned wedding photography that way, and I continue my education through places like Professional Photographers of America, Sue Bryce Education, and the Headshot Crew.
Wonderful. And do you have a specialty?
I focus a lot on headshots and helping businesses shine right now, but really my specialties would be people in general.
Okay, so any occasion, yes. And what is involved? What type of work do you do? Videography or just stills? Tell us a little bit.
I do video and photo, so it's all under the photography umbrella. Yeah, stills and moving.
Everything?
Yes.
Okay, sounds good. We're talking with professional photographer Sunny Wasiela, And I guess my next question is, you have done some research on women and how after a certain age they stop getting their photos taken. Is that true?
It is very true, unfortunately.
And at what age did you find many women stop taking pictures?
It's typically after their wedding or after age 25, there's a big decline. And after age 40, it really goes down from there.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a combination of our society doesn't really make women feel like they're worth being seen after we age, because we don't see women over the ages of like 40, 50, 60 in advertising and movies and things like that. So it's kind of subtly pushed on us. And then we don't maybe feel as great as we age because we change, and that's natural. But for some reason, we think we should look the same our whole life. So we don't like getting our picture taken anymore, and we're insecure about something.
So is that why some women just stop getting their photos taken?
Yeah, it's usually insecurity or self-esteem, a little combination of both. Or they might have had a bad photo experience and they don't know how to get over that.
Well, you say you like to help people have a joyful portrait experience. Tell us, how do you do that? Let's get some information out there.
Sure. So if someone is having hangups about getting their photo taken, because not everyone does, then I try to listen at first. Before I even talk about booking a photography session, I just try to listen and see if they just need encouragement or if they're looking for answers from me. And then if it is encouragement, I try to encourage them. If it's getting answers about how they could overcome certain things with their insecurities about getting their picture taken, I encourage them to book a session, and then I actually work with them on that before we even start taking pictures, because we have to work through that thing first.
That makes sense. So I imagine part of it is that they want to make sure that they look their best. How do you help them do that? Feel like they're looking their best?
I do that through some of the training that I've learned. A lot of posing specific to women. You can't pose all the same body. All bodies are different. You can't pose all bodies the same way. So I've learned a lot about posing, different body shapes, and I actually talk with people about the things that they love about themselves or the things they might be insecure about, and I try to highlight that thing that they feel like is their strongest suit. And I also even consult with them about their wardrobe and makeup before their session so that they're wearing things that flatter them and help them shine, because everyone's beautiful in their own way. So we just try to help show that thing about each person.
I like that. When you mentioned clothing, how do you help them with that?
So typically I will actually have them bring more than one thing with them, or we'll look at pictures and talk about it beforehand. Through working with a stylist in town, I have learned through working with stylist Beth Garrett, who owns Elevating Your Image, how to make sure someone is wearing the right colors that suit them and the right styles, even the jewelry and the makeup colors as well.
That are most flattering?
Yeah,
is that what
most flattering.
Well, that'll help you feel more confident right there. Yeah. And then you help them pose.
Yep.
So they shouldn't be so afraid. And what types of photographs might women, over 50, what should they consider being photographed for? So not just formal portraits. What other things might they want to learn how to pose for?
Yeah. So I love classic portraiture. I think it's so important. That is a big one. I think beauty photography is a fun one to do as well if they've never had that experience. And it's something that they can put on the wall and everyone can cherish. The family photos is even something fun. Like, mom doesn't need to stand behind the kids and just be standing there. She can look fun and look like she's having a good time as well. So those are some of the things. And even wedding photos, again, not just standing there being in the photo. Sorry, even wedding photos, not just standing there, like a statue.
Stiff, right.
Yeah, but
really,
really,
I think we do tend to feel stiff. So that, helping them feel more natural is what you're going with. I love that. We are talking with professional photographer Sunny Wasiela. And should we go into the photo session knowing how we are going to use the photos? And does that impact what type of pose we should strike?
That's a great idea. Knowing how we're going to use the photos and how they're going to be displayed, whether it's digital or in print, on a wall, in a book, or as a headshot on a resume is really important. Yep.
That sounds really good. How about, like you had mentioned briefly, like even a family vacation? What if you're traveling alone or somebody offers to take your picture? Can you help them, even though you won't be with them? Can you give them tips if they ask you when they're visiting with you?
I would always give them tips. I would always answer any questions that they have. And my number one tip is just to have fun. Seriously, just have fun.
I like that. Speaking of poses, what are some tips to get photos we like?
Some tips to get photos that you like is to enjoy the moment, have fun, know that the experience is more important than looking perfect.
That sounds really good. And also, I think when you're saying that, is there anything do props come into play? And do you recommend that women use them? Like whether it be, scarves or things like that? What do you think?
I typically, if it's an actual portrait session, we'll look at their comfort level when we're thinking of sitting, standing, different poses like that. Some props like chairs or accessories might come into play, but it's definitely something that we wade into as we go in the session, and we see what that person looks and feels most comfortable with.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. They might just, rather than just being sitting stiff, they might feel more comfortable if they had something. I've even seen people pose with their pets.
Yeah.
Is that because they're more comfortable, or they just...
Yeah, our pets are kind of like a little lightning rod. They just help us relax,
Yes. So if you have a favorite pet, I guess that's the other thing. Some women live alone, but it doesn't mean they shouldn't get their photos taken or updated, right?
Absolutely.
I think that would make them feel really, really good. And finally, what should we expect from the photographer who is taking our photographs?
We should always expect professionalism, for sure. Attentiveness and sensitivity, being able to key in on how secure or insecure that person might be before getting their photo taken or during the session itself, and making sure that they're making that person comfortable. You should be able to expect to have a full dialogue with the photographer, telling them about things that you're maybe nervous about, or asking them questions. If you just don't know what they mean when they're giving you direction, you should really feel like you are 100% comfortable with that person, and they should be doing their best to make you comfortable.
And approximately, let's just pick a category like a headshot or a portrait. About how long should somebody expect their photography session to last? Because they might think it's just like 5 minutes, they're just going to do it. Isn't it a little bit longer?
Absolutely. Yeah, you should expect your photography session, even if it's a quick session, to last at least 20 minutes. It takes about that much time to really talk and work with the photographer.
That sounds great. Sunny, you have given us so many good tips. I hope we've helped make women feel much more relaxed about having their pictures taken. And I really thank you for coming in and sharing some of these great tips with us today.
I'm happy to. Thanks for having me.
It's been my pleasure. And we will have Sunny's contact information in our show notes on our website, sisterhoodofthesecondAct.com. And we will be back in just a moment to wrap up the show.
Kathy's wardrobe provided by cabbie stylist Darlene Marshall. See the styles in our show notes at sisterhoodofthesecondAct.com.
I'm going to be an oak tree.
I think I'll be a dogwood tree.
My kids say they be looking for a thorny tree from me.
With Evergreen, you can be a tree. Our biodegradable urn combines your ashes, natural soil additives, and a native tree of your choice. Be a tree and grow for tomorrow.
I want to be a tree.
Learn more at evergreenmemorialtrust.com.
See where a grateful nation remembers its heroes, and where Thomas Jefferson came to relax. Where small town charm is just down the road from big outdoor adventures. Find peace and quiet, as well as the sounds of family fun. Destination Bedford is located where the Piedmont Plateau meets the Blue Ridge Mountains of Virginia. Where ordinary ends, Bedford begins.
I want to thank Monica Nicely and Sunny Wasiela for being with us today. There are many things for seniors to consider when it comes to downsizing or aging in place, and Monica gave us some wonderful advice to make the process easier. And Sunny shared some great tips to help us look and feel our best in front of the camera. I'm Kathy Heberle. Join us again next week for another edition of Sisterhood of the Second Act.